Hey, before we start this video, I just wanted to give a quick announcement that next week there will not be a new episode of My Hero Academia. Sorry, I'm adjusting my socks. But yes, we will not have a new episode next week because I am kind of taking a Christmas break. I know this probably isn't coming out around Christmas technically, but just because of the way I record things, I am coming up on Christmas, and so in order to take a break, I will be skipping next week for MHA and a couple other shows too. So we will be back in 2 weeks with Season 4, Episode 7, just so you guys know. Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, back again with My Hero Academia. Last time on My Hero Academia, we had Let's Go, Gusty Red Riot, where we had, well, first off, we started with Uraraka and Asui at their work studies with the number 9 hero, as well as Hado, and they were fighting some criminals, and they were doing pretty well. In fact, they are probably going to be in on the new case where their agency is going to be teaming up with Sir Nighteye in order to take on the Shie Hisaikai. We also had... What else did we have? I guess we also had... was that last episode of... I don't remember. I don't remember if last episode we also had Shigaraki talking to Overhaul. I don't remember if that was last episode or not. Might have been though. But let's see. We also, most importantly, we had Kirishima at his work study with Fat Gum, I think, and as well as Amajiki, and they were also fighting criminals. They found a criminal who was able to boost his quirk actually through a drug, and he was really causing trouble. But Kirishima used a new form basically called Unbreakable Red Riot, which was pretty cool. And he was able to stop him because the drug enhancement didn't last very long, honestly. So yeah, it was all really, really cool. Good Kirishima episode. We also got maybe a hint of a bit of backstory for Kirishima, but not too much. So yeah, I am very curious to see where we are going for the rest of this, into this episode. So yeah. This is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. This is also where I say if you want to watch my reaction to this episode of My Hero Academia, what you gotta do is head down in the description or to the pinned comment, click on the link there. That will take you over to the reaction. You can watch it just like a normal reaction, and when you're done with that, you can pop right back over here to this YouTube video for the discussion. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into this episode of My Hero Academia. Here we go. I want them to save her. I want them to save her. It's so interesting because, I mean, yeah, the League of Villains is involved, but to be honest, we just have a completely new villain, I mean, which I guess we kind of had to with Stain, Overhaul is a lot like Stain, where it's like, here's this guy that sort of comes out of nowhere and he's the new villain, but he's also involved with the League of Villains as well. But it's just interesting, and I like because it's not... I mean, the thing about Stain... is that he was alone. He was just one guy with his swords out to take on the world. Whereas Overhaul has his own group. He has the Yakuza. He has his own plans. He has the Yakuza, and he's kind of he's a force to be reckoned with, and he is trying to take over the power vacuum left by the defeat of All for One. So, in a sense, it does make him sort of different. It basically sort of positions him as another Shigaraki, where it's like, okay, this guy he's a boss. He is a force to be reckoned with. Whereas Stain was just sort of he was just one guy, So it's just so interesting, because even like Wolfram in the movie, he was just another, guy. Well, he wasn't from the League of Villains, but he was associated with them. He got the extra powers from All for One, But Overhaul is just his own thing, and it's so insane. It honestly feels like we're taking just a break from Shigaraki and the League of Villains, Like, we'll get back to them later, right now. Although he is teaming up with them, He's forging an alliance with them, and possibly, will be involved. I still think that somehow, maybe this would be crazy, but maybe if they did like an alliance of convenience, where it's like, maybe Midoriya and Shigaraki have to team up against Overhaul. That'd be crazy. But I don't know. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into the notes. The first thing I wrote down is assemble. We pretty much assembled the Avengers here again. Maybe not quite to the level of the gang that took on that was there at Camino Ward, because that was All Might, Endeavor, Best Jeanist, Gang Orca, and everyone. But this is a pretty solid team up we have here, Like, I really do like this. So that was cool. And we had talk about quirk genes, which was interesting. So these bullets specifically, it makes sense that a drug would do this, that a drug basically destroys quirk genes, That's very interesting. Whereas Aizawa, this is why Aizawa was brought in, or Eraser was brought in, was because his quirk specifically just like, it doesn't damage them, but it kind of like temporarily deactivates them, or even just blocks their output, basically. It blocks them from being used. So that's the difference here. Although the bullets that they currently have are not, I guess they're just not potent enough, because Amajiki was able to, just wear it off after a while. After a few hours it wore off, and his quirk genes basically healed themselves. So that's pretty good. So it's not as potent yet, but it can be, but it is still a problem. So, and then, okay, so we got the full extent of what Overhaul's quirk is. Overhaul. So it's not, you could kind of speculate it's like, oh, it's some sort of plague, because of how he killed Magna. But it's more that he can completely break down and change a person's body. And for someone like Magna, he could, just break down all the atoms, just force all the atoms apart and destroy Magna. But for the other guys that they said, which I thought they showed those guys dead last season, so maybe I missed something, I don't know. But for those guys, he overhauled them, which is why it's like, oh, even pre-existing conditions were gone, because he fixed them, he cured them, he even, changed their minds, so that basically they weren't criminals anymore. So that is a very interesting quirk. And he can use that he could use that, I assume then, to break a person's quirk. But I don't know. But whatever it is, he specifically concentrates blood into these bullets to specifically attack the quirk genes. Now, what's interesting is these bullets are being made of Eri, which is interesting. So it must mean that Eri has a similar quirk to him. But you would honestly think, well, wait, why can't he just use his, Why does he specifically need Eri unless there is something different about Eri's quirk, you know? I don't know. I'm not really sure, because, you know, in the outro, we do see, presumably, her mother, and maybe it's that Eri has a specific combination of her mother's quirk and Overhaul, which is why they have to make the bullets out of her. But we don't know. We're not really sure. Man, this season's dark, though. This season is so dark. They're making bullets out of the blood of a little girl. Like, what the fuck? That is so crazy. But yeah, so they're making bullets out of Eri. Jeez Louise. And yeah, we just... I'm not really sure about that. Is it that she has the same quirk as Overhaul, or is hers, which I guess we don't really know. We don't really know. Even they don't really know what exactly it is about these bullets. You know, even if it is, you know, even if they suspected because of Overhaul's quirk, the fact that it specifically comes from Eri is strange. Why is that? You know, why does it come from Eri? Like, what is it specific? It's got to be something specific. Maybe it's some sort of combination, or just the way her version of Overhaul works, you know? I have no idea. But yeah, that is just horrifying that he is making bullets out of Eri. And that has definitely hit both Midoriya and Mirio in kind of different ways, but still, you know, because Deku was like, oh, I should have, you know, just saved her. If I should have just saved her, and Mirio being like, oh, why did I let her go, you know? Even though Overhaul, it probably would have been a hell of a fight and been probably very difficult to beat him, just the two of them. Even just the two of them, you know? It still would have been very difficult, I imagine, to beat him. Still, the two of them are just feeling so horrible that they let this girl go, and not only she's being abused, and her body is being used to create weapons, you know, and that is hitting both of them so hard, you know. And okay, that fucking dickwad next to them, you know, he had one good point throughout the whole episode, but other than that, he was just a dickwad. You know, it's like, oh, what do we have these high schoolers here for? It's like, would you shut the fuck up? They are here for a goddamn reason. Shut the fuck up. You know? You're not Endeavor. You can't pull this off. If it was Endeavor, I probably would have been like, oh, what the fuck ever. It's Endeavor. He's a dick. We all know that. You know, if Endeavor was like, why are these high schoolers here? You know, that's my best. That's my best Endeavor. I can do Dio better than I can do Endeavor. It's because of the accent. Jonathan, why have you brought these children here? Dio's a bit easier to do than Endeavor, but yeah, it's like, but other than that, this guy is just he's a tool. Like, this guy sucks. It's like, oh well, we would be able to figure this out if these two amateurs didn't screw. It's like, would you read the fucking room, you dickbag? You know? And even, you know, saying it's like, oh, well, just use your foresight on me. I'll show you I can cheat death. It's like, okay, you low-level, arrogant dickwad, shut the fuck up. You are, like, just shut up. This guy's so annoying. He had one good point. I don't fucking remember what it was. But he had one good point in this entire episode, you know? Let me see if I can find it.
Kids want to talk big, that's fine. But if what Nighteye is saying is for real, that little girl's at the center of Hasaka's underground drug operation. She may have managed to get away from Overhaul for a few minutes, but she got herself seen by a couple of heroes. You think he's still gonna keep her at home after that? Hell, I know I sure wouldn't.
Well.
And if we go busting into their headquarters and she's not there, they're gonna know that we're onto them. We gotta be sure of where he's hiding her.
He has a point.
That's the only good point that he has in this episode, is that it's like, look, yes, you guys want to go charging in there to save her, to fix your mistake, but you do need to be careful, because if you go in there and she's not there, it will create a problem. That is the only point. Otherwise, that guy's a fucking dickwad. And I'm done with that guy. Fuck him. Ugh. Anyway. But yes, even though it's like, yes, they're very gung-ho about they need to go save her, and Fat Gum is too, but they need to plan this out very carefully. Clearly it's like they're not dealing with the average villain anymore. It's like, no, this is very serious. We need to really think everything out, So I like that. We did have the talk about foresight that, first off, that it takes 24 hours to recharge Night-Eye's foresight, which is interesting. So he can only do it on one person every 24 hours. And while he can see someone's future, it's entirely possible that he will see their death. And we've seen, they've said multiple times this season that Night-Eye is pretty much always right about his foresight. It's so far no one has ever been able to change the future that he sees. So it is very risky in order to do that. So I get that. And he doesn't want to have to see someone's death and know that it will most likely happen, because that's what happened with All Might, So yeah, I understand why he doesn't want to do that. And that's probably why he's not going to see All Might's future again, like Midoriya said. So, yeah. And then we got the talk at the end of, I do like Aizawa was saying, it's like, you haven't fully gained my trust back. I don't know if you may actually try to go out and save her, and I don't really know if I can stop you. But I like him saying, it's like, look, just think things through. Don't just go in there and just be rash. Like, really try to think this through, So I like that. I really like that. And I like the resolve now that both Midoriya and Mirio have. And yeah, because I like that, Mirio, he's kind of set up when you first meet him as like, all right, this guy is amazing, This guy is amazing, Eraser saying is like, oh, well, he's the best bet on being the next number one hero, So to see this really take a toll on him is really interesting, It's like, okay, yeah, Mirio he's not the perfect child. He's not a problem child like Midoriya, but he's not the perfect child. And I like just this new resolve and like this, I guess this connection that both Midoriya and Mirio have. So that was really cool. And I like, Night-Eye saying, it's like, okay, I see why you sent Midoriya to me, Gran Torino. Like, that was very cool. And saying, it's like, yes, he is very similar to All Might. It's the madness within him, because that's the thing, is that I don't know. We don't really know enough about Mirio to say if he has that same sort of madness. But that's the thing, is throughout this whole show, we have seen time and time again how Midoriya is like All Might. And honestly, yeah, it makes sense that, Night-Eye sees that and he doesn't like that, because he sees that Midoriya may make the same mistakes that All Might made because they are very similar, So, yeah, that's really crazy. That's really, really crazy. But I like that. I really do like, he does see why. He probably honestly sees why All Might would have chosen Midoriya, because All Might saw so much of himself in him. Which is probably just what happens with One for All, Because I imagine Shimura probably saw a lot of herself in All Might, in young Toshinori, and then All Might saw the same sort of madness within Midoriya. So that's really cool. For some reason my voice is going, which is not good. I have 2 more videos to record today, but that's all right. The last thing I wrote down was kind, that now Ares thinking, and I like Aizawa saying, it's like, just because you couldn't save her doesn't mean you didn't give her hope, And yeah, she is starting to think like, oh my gosh, no one has ever been that nice or kind to me before. So maybe this is going to give her some hope. We'll have to see. Once again, I will say that we will not be back for My Hero Academia next week, but tune back in 2 weeks from now, and we will move right along into episode 7. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of My Hero Academia reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon or follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.